The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here alongside the young boy Josh Smith. And we are ready for another exciting episode of Keeping It Strong Style. On today's show, we'll be covering nights 4 through 8 of the New Japan Cup tournament. And of course, all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Make sure you support the Social Suplex Podcast Network by subscribing on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcast archives along with all of our columns at socialsuplex.com. Go to socialsuplex.com/subscribe to sign up to get the podcast and columns delivered directly to your email inbox. And before we get started, I want to give 2 quick shout-outs. Shout out to Social Suplex writer Nathan Saratan. He wrote a pretty interesting piece on Tai Chi and whether or not he's an investable heavyweight. So if you haven't already, check that out on socialsuplex.com. And also want to give a shout out to Fernando Cuellas Jr. Follow him at Twitter at FQJMMA. He does a lot of great work for lowkick.com and SES Scoops. Check out all his news articles and his work. Solid guy.
Yeah, he tweeted us this week.
Yeah.
That was unexpected. I don't know if he listens to the show, but it kind of seemed like maybe he did.
It seems like it did. I mean, he call us out by name, but Social Suplex and Keeping It Strong Style.
Yeah, he said, my day was made, and I was like, what? I was appropriating that man's article, and then I didn't even realize, that more people were, viewing his article because I posted it, which I'm not, a social influencer or anything. I don't think of myself that way. I don't even have a Twitter. So I just was, trying to share the news, and then, that kind of popped me when I was like, oh, this guy from Low Kick, and I'm a huge MMA fan, so I was like, yeah. Heck yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, man, it's always interesting to see who's checking our shows out, man.
We're over huge, brother.
Over big time, man. All right, so New Japan Cup 2018. A lot of interesting stuff has happened in this tournament. A lot of brackets busted.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. It's crazy.
So last week's show, we briefly mentioned Night 4. We hadn't watched it yet, but we knew the results. We briefly covered it. Since then we've watched nights 4 through 8. But yeah, Night 4, we've actually seen the matches now.
I'm impressed with us, man. I'm not gonna lie, the fact that we have consistently watched every single one of these shows, when there's many times where I'm like, I could probably skip a match or something, but then I get convicted and I'm like, no, I owe it to the listeners. I owe it to this business that I'm a part of to give my best. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we since December watched everything, that's kind of crazy.
It is, man. No breaks.
No breaks. No off time.
Mr. No Days Off. So
I'm on the WWE schedule.
Yeah. We're on the road. 7 days a week, not seeing our family and friends.
Yeah, I feel like Bret Hart. I worked every Christmas for these guys, and this is what they do to me. Wrestling with Shadows, so good.
So on night 4, we had 2 first-round matches. Was Sonata against Chucky T, and also Yano versus Davey Boy Smith Jr. So, Josh, now that we've seen the matches, what is your final thoughts on Yano and Davey Boy Smith?
Ooh, so I'm trying to think about this tournament. Let me look back at the brackets because pulling out my handy dandy paper here. But okay, so Kota Ibushi Yoshihashi was very, very good. Naito and Zack Sabre Jr. was excellent. Elgin Ishii for me has been the match of the tournament. Juice and Takahashi over delivered. I thought Tanahashi and Taichi was very good. Up until this night, the only match I felt like had under-delivered, or I don't even want to say under-delivered, but just wasn't up to par with the match quality we were seeing, was Fale and Archer. So this was definitely in the first round, this is the weakest night of the tournament, match quality-wise. And I mean, it's kind of what you would expect with like two comedy, and not to speak ill of them, but two comedy wrestlers like Yano and Chucky T. You do sometimes expect what you get, and I thought both of these matches, they were, while not being terrible, they weren't anything like blow away at all.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with Yano and Davey Boy Smith, it's kind of what we predicted. With Yano doing all his antics and pulling a fast one on Davey Boy Smith.
I was nervous the whole time, though. I was nervous to be made to look like a fool and see like Davey Boy squash him. So that was the one thing that like kept me like on the edge of my seat a little bit.
Especially since we like buried Rich for for picking Davey Boy Smith.
And Yano had a lot of trouble with Davey Boy in this match. Like he kept trying his antics and things like that, and a lot of it wasn't really working. And so it was interesting to kind of see like how are they going to pull this off. But this was a match that was 12 minutes and some change, and it felt like it went on forever.
It did.
Like it felt like
forever.
So I mean that was one of the only things. And I mean when the ending came, I was glad it was done. I felt like this could have been done in less amount of time, actually, as weird as that sounds. But so I mean essentially what ended up happening, like I know it was a count out.
Yeah, so pretty much they were out on the floor, and so Yano fights off a suplex, stuns Smith on the rope, gets a tape out. He's tying Smith's feet together, but Smith kicks him away. Then they work to the floor. Smith lays his headbutts, but he crotches himself on the barricade. And then Yano runs back in and gets the count out.
That's like a classic like Hart family finish. I don't know if you've seen a lot of their stuff from the 80s, but like there's so many times I've seen like Dynamite or Davey Boy or like Tag Brett in singles matches and like WWF and like New Japan go over the barricade or crotch themselves and then the match ends. Like, so this was Davey Boy Smith Jr. living up to his family's like MO, to his heritage. No, I'm not even joking. I can literally think of like at least 2 or 3 matches for each individual one of those guys where I've seen them crotch themselves and lose a match.
Or like get tied up in the ropes or something.
No, specifically getting crotched. I'm saying specifically getting crotched.
They didn't teach that in the dungeon.
I think they do. I think like Stu's and like, what you gotta do. I don't do a good Stu.
Stretch it, man.
But yeah, so I mean, I was glad when this was over. Toru Yano got the the upset win. Although I think it was something like 90% of our like listeners thought he was gonna win. So
so it wasn't really an upset.
No, not at all. But 85% of our listeners thought Yano was gonna win that match anyway. So I was just surprised it wasn't a roll up, but it was kind of nice because that set up like the next match in the tournament, and we'll get to it. But like, what I like about the New Japan Cup is they'll do a finish, and then it kind of sets up where they can play off that finish later in the next round.
Right.
And they've done that pretty consistently, which is kind of cool. So yeah, Yano advances. Nothing crazy there. Davey Boy gets jobbed. He goes back to the tag team division.
Yep. Then we had Sonata and Chucky T for the main event here. Big singles match for Chucky T here.
Yeah, I actually I don't know if you saw this on Twitter, but someone said like said something to him about injuring Beretta.
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't injure Beretta. He was like, he got injured after years of doing steroids, trying to get ready for his NXT run.
Oh my god. That's hilarious, dude. Chucky T is hilarious on Twitter. If you guys are not following Chucky T, you need to be.
This match, although I didn't have like super high expectations, it was uneven for me. I thought it started okay and then got really, really slow. And then they tried to pick it up with a lot of the outside stuff. They did some crazy spots. They were using a table at one point, right?
I think so, yeah. Was that Sonata that went out to get it?
No, I think Chucky T went and looked for that table. But
that's right, yeah.
Yeah, they were doing like, stuff with the barricades and on the outside. It was pretty interesting, but I just didn't feel like these guys had a lot of chemistry. But the ending was very good. The ending like sequences were good enough to where I started actually thinking Chucky T was going to get the upset win. So, I mean, there's not much more you could really ask for from a match like this when there's one guy that you know is not going to win, and then they start popping you to make you think, like, maybe he will pull the upset.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like that ending sequence, it gave you, a little doubt, like, man, Chucky T could really pull us out.
Yeah, I mean, he went for, like, a Michinoku driver. He almost hit the moonsault. The moonsault that Chucky T never, ever, ever hits. He's on that angle status.
Yeah, he's on that Kurt Angle, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, he hit him with the Awful Waffle, and Sonata kicked out of that.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I mean, that's his finish. I mean, he's pinned a couple guys in multi-man matches with the Awful Waffle.
There was he got put in the skull end, and then he reversed it into a cradle that I thought he was going to get the upset like pinfall off of. Yeah. So he was pretty much going for everything. But
yeah, eventually Sonata got the skull end back in, locked it in, and then of course his new thing now is he lets him go and then goes on top so he can hit that Muda moonsault.
Yeah.
And he got the pinfall victory over Chucky T.
It was a good main event. It wasn't great. I wouldn't be like, oh, it was bad, but it also wasn't something where I'd be like, hey, I recommend this match. You need to go out of your way and watch it or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
But if you're a completionist and you're watching the tournament, it's probably a good idea to just see it. But this was one of the weaker nights, obviously.
All right.
And then ultimately, so that pretty much brings us to the point where, that leaves us with, Ibushi going against Zack Sabre Jr., Yano and Sonata, Elgin and Juice, and Tanahashi and Fale. So that pretty much concluded the whole first round, which the first round up to now has been excellent.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So then we move on to night 5. And the 2 tournament matches that night, we had Michael Elgin taking on Juice Robinson and Tanahashi taking on Bad Luck Fale. So what do you think about Big Mike and Juice?
It was okay. I mean, I actually thought both matches this night on night 5 weren't the best. That was the night they were in the gymnasium, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that was one thing I thought was interesting was we watch a lot of New Japan and we see when they do the gymnasium shows.
Yeah.
But you don't usually see a gymnasium show where it's the full broadcast quality with the multiple camera angles.
Yeah, normally it was in the World Tag League where you had the single cam, not the best production value.
So it's interesting to see the full production show, but still in a gymnasium like that. And New Japan kind of can throw you off in that way where they can go from being in a small to medium sized arena with an awesome production, and then the next night they just got one curtain up there. no pyro, no video, and the guys are just coming out and they're in a gym and you're like, wow, this is crazy. Is this happening in the middle of the day?
Probably is.
Yeah. So I mean it's interesting though because I kind of like it though with a lot of Western products WWE specifically is very homogenized. Every show pretty much takes place in the same setup now. I think even the pay-per-views have the same setup.
Yeah, everything has the same setup. Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, NXT, not NXT, but 205.
But the takeovers do now.
Yeah, takeovers, yeah. Yeah, just all...
So it's kind of cool. You watch a New Japan show and they have different arenas that are very distinct. Obviously, Kurken's very distinct. It reminds me of I don't know, Dead or Alive or Tekken, different stages, arenas, Street Fighter. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I thought that this show was good, but not great. And I thought both matches, which was that was Tanahashi and Fale and Elgin and Juice.
Yeah,
I thought they were both just good, but not great.
Right. So the story with this Elgin Juice match, Elgin's riding the momentum from that big win over Ishii. And I think the story of this match they were trying to tell was Elgin was overconfident from that big win and kind of underestimated Juice Robinson here.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting because Elgin came in like hot off that win over Ishii, and he looked so dominant and started to get you to believe like, you know, he could go all the way in this thing to a certain, not that you would believe that he would, but like they made it seem believable as far as like a kayfabe sense. And then I don't think hardly anybody had Juice like going and like winning this match at all.
No, not at all. I don't think anybody did. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that Juice picked up the win here. You think after such a big win over Ishii that they would send Elgin a little bit further into the tournament, but
the majority of our readers when we were doing the tournament contest had Ishii and Juice being the matchup, but in all cases, only 22% of people that voted thought Juice was going to leave the second round.
yeah.
I mean, that's like, so, I mean, hardly anybody thought, most people thought Juice was winning the first round, but hardly anybody thought he was going to the, you know, the semifinals.
Right, yeah, nobody was calling that at all.
So, yeah, I don't know. This match, it was good, but it wasn't anything where I was like really, really blown away. I thought that they worked well together. You know, Elgin hit a lot of his big stuff.
Yeah, a lot of big power moves.
Yeah, and I mean, Juice was kind of just fighting from underneath the whole time. I didn't ever really feel like they kicked it into like the next gear.
Right. It was almost like this kind of stayed at a certain level. Mm-hmm. Like they hit that like almost like that 3-star-ish level and kind of stayed there.
Yeah, I mean, the ending was good, but basically it was, a lot of it was like Juice trying to fight back. He's not really affecting Elgin. Elgin's, you know, going for big moves and he's either hitting them or Juice is like trying to escape. And Juice is just fighting from underneath pretty much the whole time.
Which, I mean, he's really good at doing. He's a great baby face.
He kept firing up and, you know, getting, like, sympathy from the crowd. And Elgin's Elgin. He's doing all his, like, high-flying, like, big man power moves and, you know, freakish athletic, like, you know, like, I don't know, those sentons and the crazy stuff. He's been doing Hurricane Ranas on this tour.
Yeah, he's been wilding out on this tour. But yeah, the finish came. Elgin hits the buckle bomb, which he's...
Well, Juice looked for the Pulp Friction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Elgin hit that...
lariat.
Yep.
Yeah, and so then he goes for the buckle bomb, which he uses to set up the Elgin bomb. But Juice counters the Elgin bomb into a cradle, flash finish. Yeah. Gets him.
And I like flash finishes. So that kind of like popped me. Like that brought the match up a lot for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it at all.
Right. I was expecting buckle bomb, Elgin bomb, end of the story. But yeah.
This was not a match. I did not think Juice was winning here. Like I didn't expect it even a little bit. When I saw that he did, I was like, wow. Like I knew that, you know, Juice has like been elevated. And his matches have been very good, but it just shows you like they're putting a lot of stock in this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, good match, nothing great. It wasn't, again, it wasn't something that lived up to those first few nights, man, were so good. Like the Bushi-Hashi match and Naito and Sabre, Elgin and Ishii, the Juice and Takahashi,
those were solid.
Everything around there was like around the 4-star, like, territory. So I mean, it's pretty hard to like live up to that territory. With this match, it was like 3.5,
maybe
somewhere around that. Yeah, like, around there. But yeah, so Juice, I liked this though. One reason I liked it was because Elgin looked dominant the whole time, so it didn't necessarily take away from the credibility of his win in the first round.
It's not like he beat him with the Pulp Friction clean.
Yeah, no.
He caught him.
He caught him, yeah. He caught him slipping.
So that keeps, you know, a little bit of credibility for Elgin in case they do decide to do more of him this year.
But it was a clean win.
Yeah, clean win, yeah. So the next matchup we had was Tanahashi.
I'm bumbling
out here trying to text your girls back.
Well... Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is what I'm trying. You're going on to a rant about the next match. I'm going to take a brief reprieve. I'm going to take a powder. I'm going to play to the crowd a little bit.
Shout out to Gentleman Dragon on Reddit, who said that Josh's phone and iPad are, you know, the third member of the show.
Shout out to the hoes. They keep it buzzing. They keep it chirping. You know what? It's not even really that. Like we're over exaggerating this. What it really is like, it's our group threads that like our friends just can't like stop sending us stuff about wrestling, and so it's just buzzing all the time. And I'm like, Caleb, Like, James,
we're trying to record
something. But then I don't want to say that, so I'm like, yeah, it's a hose.
But
also, let me say, I don't use that word derogatorily. Like, this is just comedy.
This is just, we're upstanding gentlemen.
I'm not out here, like, calling these thoughts hoes.
Oh, man, let's stop while we're
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Moving on. Tanahashi and...
I hope James Boyd never listens to this episode.
Well, we know James doesn't listen to our show.
I know he
He's
does.
big league.
Yeah.
He doesn't got time for us.
Oh, man, he would flame me so hard. Like...
But all seriously, guys, we were joking and all about that. We respect women on this show and in real life. Tanahashi against Bad Luck Fale. You know, another good Tana Bad Luck Fale match. Tana really knows how to work with Fale.
I like this better than the Juice and Elgin match.
Yeah, so did I. Tana really knows how to work with Fale and get a good match out of him. Not saying that Fale can't have good matches with other people, but Tana really knows how to work him to get the most out of the match.
Yeah, I really liked their G1 match because there was a point where it was really vicious. I remember like Fale cornering Tanahashi and like really laying into him with the strikes. And they've had matches in the past too, but that one really stuck out to me because of how desperate Tanahashi was the whole time and Fale was just really dominant. This match wasn't quite that. This was almost like Tanahashi came in with a better game plan and kind of stayed on the outside and really like used his speed and his quickness to keep like Fale guessing the whole time.
Yeah. And dude, I forget how fast Tanahashi is, man.
Yeah.
When he fires up, dude, he like scales that top rope so quickly.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things he does. Like the only person that's ever done that better than him is Macho. Like when I see him do it, like he does it with the same mannerism and the same like characteristic. And I'm sure, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's listeners out there who are like, well, Will Ospreay gets up there. Like, you know, there's guys that like fling themselves up.
Like Rob Van Dam.
Like Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But
climb.
The way he climbs is the same way Macho does. It's so graceful and it's quick. It's really quick.
Yeah.
And it's the same way Macho Man did. And like no one in the 80s did it. And even right now, nobody like in wrestling in general moves like Tanahashi when they're getting to the top rope. Like nobody.
And I was also surprised that he had a high fly flow crossbody to the outside. This man just came back from a knee injury and he's out here, risking it all.
He doesn't know how to stay away, dude. What's funny was like, I remember around the time, I don't remember which match. There was a match where he was wrestling someone from the Bullet Club and he got busted open. Do you remember that? He did a high five flow and he hit his head on I think like Matt or Nick Jackson's head.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And it was around that time. He said unless it was a really big match, he was going to stop high five flowing to the outside. That never happened. It might have been AJ.
Every match is a big match.
Dude, bro. He's on that Ibushi status. Ibushi's doing moonsaults off of balconies every night. It's why? Bro?
Yeah.
But you would think with his knee problems and stuff he would slow down. But I guess he said during that press conference he took 5 pounds off.
Yeah,
it's relieved the pressure on his knees.
Yeah, man. But he's in a phenomenal shape. So.
Oh, and he's working legs again.
Yeah, that's right. He's on that leg.
He's doing.
He's not
squats.
skipping leg day again.
So apparently that rejuvenates your knees and the tendon and all the years of damage.
Right.
So that's great.
He found the magic.
I will say this though, the way he hit Fale with that you couldn't imagine a prettier or more perfect high five flow to the outside. I was like, wow, this dude can. Tanahashi's still as good as he
he's
ever
great,
was.
Man. He's great.
Yeah. So this was, but yes, Fale ended up just, chasing Tanahashi around the whole time. He did have his moments, but Tanahashi, it wasn't like Tanahashi was hurting Fale. He was just frustrating him. And
right.
Really just
kind of outsmarting him.
Outsmarting him using his quickness. And then this one ended on a count out, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it did. What happened, Bad Luck Fale was looking to hit the Bad Luck Fall to Tanahashi on the floor.
Right.
But Tanahashi countered and pushed him over the barricade and got back in for the count out win.
That was a little bit, when they were doing it, it was great that it worked out, but the way it could have ended kind of badly. It was a little sloppy, and I was Tana. No, Ace. But yeah, they did that really well, and the way Fale went over, and then obviously Tanahashi got the 1, 2, 3, or the he got in right before the 20 count, and I liked this because again, it's the same thing with like the Elgin match. Like Fale didn't look bad in defeat. He looked credible. He looked a little dumb, but that was about, like, he got outsmarted, but that was about it. Tanahashi barely squeaked by, and Juice barely squeaked by on this night. So kind of like fluky upsets on that night. Not that there were upsets, but like the way they told the stories,
Right.
like they barely won.
Yeah, very interesting the way they did that. It was kind of like the theme of the night.
So night 6.
Yeah, so the next night, night 6, we had...
Is it night 6 or is it night 7?
No, night 6.
Yeah.
We were in the quarterfinals. We had Sanada against Toru Yano and Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr.
I was excited for this night.
Yeah.
I was excited for this night because we've seen Yano and Sanada, and they have a good chemistry for whatever reason. And then we saw Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. in the G1 last year, and that was fantastic. And plus with like the run that Zack Sabre's been on, plus it's Ibushi, like I was very hyped for this night, much more than night 5.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Sanada and Toru Yano here. So this was a really short match, only 6 minutes and 56 seconds.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how I like my Yano matches. See, that was the problem with the Davey Boy Smith match. It wasn't necessarily like what they did was wrong. It's just
It was too long.
Too much of it. And when you had, I don't know, I've seen Toru Yano in like longer, decent matches. It just, that one wasn't one of them. If you're gonna do his standard like, BS win in the New Japan Cup, like cut it down. Like they could have done it in half the time like this one. And this one was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great, but for a comedy match, I mean, it's what I like from comedy in New Japan.
Yeah, and I mean, once again, Yano trying to do his antics. There was a low blow by Yano for a cradle. Gets to 2. Yano argues with the ref, which then low blow by Sanada, and then puts the skull in to get the win.
Yeah, so I mean, wrestling is subjective. There are people who really just don't like Toru Yano and that sort of thing, and I'm not necessarily the biggest comedy guy when it comes to my wrestling. I like hard-hitting, violent matches, but what I liked about this was how many times Toru Yano kept going for the pinfall, and it kept like looking like he was about to pull the upset.
Yeah.
Even though I think the majority of people who watched or who like were predicting this thought Sanada was going to win.
Yeah, right.
It showed the desperation of like what Toru Yano was trying to accomplish by like getting him out of there as quickly as possible. Because I think he realized like the longer it went on,
like the less chance he has of winning.
Yep. And so I mean, this was good. I mean, what were your like final thoughts on it?
I mean, it was fine. I mean, it's a Yano match. Like I'm not expecting Yano to come out here and have a 5-star chain wrestling classic or anything.
You'd be surprised. I bet he could.
He probably could if he really wanted to, but I'm not expecting that. So yeah, it was fine for what it was. Post-match, Sanada left him in the Paradise Lock. He put the ref in the Paradise Lock, and he put Yagi in the Paradise Lock.
Oh yeah. I like that Sanada hit him with the low blow.
Yeah.
So
give him a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah. So that was good. So I mean, the right guy went over. Sanada's going to the semifinals, and that leads us to the main event of night 6.
Yeah, so Kota Ibushi versus the submission master, ZSJ, Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, so this was great.
Yeah.
This was really, really great. What were your thoughts, Jeremy?
Man, this was a very solid match. I love their match from the G1, and this was another very solid match between both these guys. Once again, Zack Sabre Jr., the aggressor, and he really just kicked Kota Ibushi's ass in this match.
He dominated him, bro. Like, Kota Ibushi actually put up more of a struggle and more of a fight, I would say, than Naito did.
Yeah.
But even with that, like, he was working from underneath, and it was all hope spots. It was all, hope strikes. But what's amazing about this man, Zack Sabre Jr., is like his attacks where he's focusing on limbs. the psychology behind it. So like if he knows a guy's like great with kicks like Kota Ibushi, he's attacking those legs, he's attacking the knees, and he's weakening his like strengths as the match goes on so that the weapons get neutralized. It's just so 80s, like so like that's what I love that stuff, man.
Yeah, but Saber, man, very brutal, picking apart the body parts. And the thing with Saber, man, it's like he just grabs whatever. Like, even though he does target like the spots, like, I mean, he'll grab whatever. He'll grab an arm or wrist, like knee, leg, whatever he can get his hands on, man. He's gonna grab it and crank it.
What I like too is there's a very like MMA / like combat sport-esque vibe to what he's doing, because he'll be wrapping the guys up and grappling with them and then hurt them, and then they'll escape, and then they'll get up and they think he's going to go for another hold, and then all of a sudden a European uppercut, and then he goes in for like the freaking like takedown or whatever it is that he's trying to get on them.
Right.
So he's like keeping them guessing the whole time.
Or they'll think like if he attacked the legs the whole match, they'll think he's going for the legs, and then he'll jump up for the arm bar or something. So he's always keeps them, like, throws them off.
It's not to say that like Ibushi didn't have any offense. He did, but it was always like on the tail end of a big attack that had come from Zack Sabre Jr. And it was him trying to get traction in the match, and he was just working from behind the whole time.
Yeah.
He was never able to catch up, like, at any point in this match.
So, yeah, I mean, Sabre was doing a lot of his, signature submission stuff. Hit Ibushi with a PK. He goes for it again. Ibushi blocks it, lays some strikes down, takes Sabre down, hits a power slam, but Sabre countered it. And he's going for the moonsault, but Sabre countered it.
That's one of my favorite spots.
Triangle.
The first time I ever saw that was when Kyle O'Reilly and Kushida wrestled in the Best of the Super Juniors. Like, I might have seen it before, but that's the first time it ever like stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like, I've seen it several times. Even I think in the like 205, it's happened a couple times now too. But I always pop for that spot, like, every single time. And I thought at that point, like, it was over. I was like, oh. Because he started hitting with the elbows, and I was like, Anderson Silva, you know?
Yeah, like, it's going to be like a ref stoppage.
But, yes, I mean, after that, like, Ibushi, like, basically escaped and powered out. Sabre put him in the octopus hold. Ibushi escaped again. And then, like I talked about, Sabre starts hitting with knee strikes. So he goes from, like, holds to strikes, but he's not relying on the strikes. He's using them to basically
set up the next submission.
Yep. And Ibushi ended up hitting a wrist clutch suplex, and he rolled him to go for the knee strike, and Sabre like countered it into another octopus hold.
That was tight. I like that.
Yeah. And then he got both arms trapped, and right when both those arms were trapped, you're like, this is it. Like, Ibushi's like had enough.
Yeah.
And he took him to the mat. Sabre started laying in the elbows, and then as Ibushi was trying to fight, the crowd was like getting behind him, you know, and they were like really trying to rev him up. Sabre like cradled him like he was going for a pin, and like Uno just stopped it.
Yeah,
like, which I thought was kind of bizarre, because it looked like it should have been a pin attempt, but for whatever reason, I guess in his judgment, he just saw.
I guess maybe he was getting ready to call it as he was doing that.
I love that. I love ref stoppages, like, when it's warranted. I don't know if this really was, like, if this was a fight, quote unquote, like an MMA fight, I think I would call that a bad stoppage. But I mean, you didn't see Kota Ibushi in character get up and like really try to say anything about it. You know what I mean?
Right. And
I don't know, because I've seen fights where guys have been on the bad end of a bad ref stoppage,
and they'll get up and kind of like
they'll protest it, and it's a big deal. But Ibushi took the loss because Ibushi was like done, bro. He got dominated.
He was wrapped up in there, man. Like, there was no escaping. Like, either like tap or risk getting injury.
I thought this match like vastly outdid the G1 match that they had last year.
Yeah.
Like, this has been incredible. Like, Sabre is just on such a run right now. It's shocking to me that, I mean, everyone knows how good Sabre is and everything like that, but like the way this push he's gotten in New Japan, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, I know, well, you had him going in the next round. I mean, I wrote him out in the first round. Like, yeah, he's a part of Suzuki Gun, he's good and all, but like, I was not expecting them to like get behind him and like give him this monster push that he's getting right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in a way, when you start seeing it happen and the way they're delivering it and doing it, it makes all the sense in the world. But hindsight is 2020, and like when before this, I've looked at my bracket and I did not have him going over Bushi, and the more I've like go back and think about it, I'm like, yeah, I still wouldn't have picked Zack Sabre to beat him. Because I just didn't think that was the way they were going to go. I mean, you could use the logic and be like, well, Ibushi's with the Golden Lover thing and all that. And that makes sense. But I just didn't think they were going to push Zack Sabre Jr. And I didn't think if he, like, quote unquote, won these matches, that it would be this way.
Yeah, I mean, these aren't like 50-50 matches. These are like 80-20.
They're dominations.
And Sabre,
they're dominations.
Yeah. And these are not just like, mid-card guys. These are top guys he's beating.
Yeah. So, I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. is just proving, like, night in and night out right now why he's the best technical wrestler in the world. And he's making a case right now that he might be the best wrestler in the world. Like, from a pure, like, catch-as-catch-can, like, mechanical. I don't know anyone in the ring that's as smooth as him. And, I mean, like, in one way, Okada is, but in another way, like, he's not. Like... Yeah. What he's doing is like true wrestling. It's really the only thing I don't like about it is, and it's always been my criticism of Zack Sabre Jr. is like he gets guys in moves that should be like finishers, but he just transitions and lets them out for no reason.
Yeah,
and I guess you have to do that to like build up the I don't know, like the like the drama of the match.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes I just see moves where I'm like, why did he let go of that? Why is this guy not tapping? Like, but what's nice is he's like transitioning a lot quicker than he used to. So it's not like he's holding them there and it's like the whole big, like dramatic, like trying to get to the ropes forever. Like they will do that in timed spots during the match, which is adding to the drama as opposed to like a whole, like, just it's not you would think like a guy using this many submission holds and stuff, you'd think you'd get bored because you'd be like rest hold city, right? But it's not. This is the difference between working a hold and a rest hold.
Yeah.
And I've always said this, like guys today don't know how to work holds, but like when I go back and I watch like Nick Bockwinkel or I watch like a Vern Gagne or something like that, those guys knew how to work holds, and you could actually, like Billy Robinson, they worked holds, and that's what Zack Sabre Jr. is doing, and it is amazing.
Yeah, work a hole and stretch it. Oh man, so yeah, man, another impressive win by Sabre here.
Huge win.
How did the brackets do with Sabre?
I think for the people, so we had for the different people that had Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. going up against one another, 83% of them had Ibushi winning that match.
Wow.
Yeah, huge. That's huge. So, I mean, we called Michael Elgin the bracket buster, but like Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, I mean,
is the bracket buster.
Well, first it was Elgin, then it was Juice.
Well, Elgin, because he took out one of the like fan favorites in Ishii. Like a lot of people had him as being their people, but this man took out Naito and Ibushi, two of the top heavily favored dudes for the whole tournament. He took them out back to back. So, I mean, if you want to see someone who, like, broke most of the brackets up, it's Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, so let's talk about New Japan Cup Night 7.
Yes, so Night 7, there was only one tournament match this night. It's
kind of sad about that.
Yeah. It was Juice Robinson going against Hiroshi Tanahashi. And there was some kind of built up little tension between these guys. The previous night they were in a multi-man match and their team won, but Juice I think was offering a handshake to Tana, and Tana didn't want to accept it.
He didn't want it. Yeah. One other thing too, I don't know if you've seen any of them, but like Juice has been on fire on the mic.
The promos?
His promos for this tournament every night have been like phenomenal. Some of the best promos I've seen in New Japan this whole year.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see any of the English promos on.
He's killing it. And when I say he's killing it, I mean he's killing it.
Nice.
Like, not only is his in-ring work great, but like his promo work is awesome. And if he would just get some better ring gear, he might be ready for a run, brother.
Big run on top. So, and here again, at the start of this match, Juice offered the handshake again, and Tana refused again. So, and I think that kind of fueled the fire of Juice in this match, and he was really aggressive in this match with Tana.
Yeah, so I mean, this was also like, it plays into the fact that like Juice is, a former Young Lion, and I think he was like one of the personal like assistants to Tanahashi. So he was Tanahashi's young boy basically.
Right.
And like Juice has gone on record many times, said like he's one of his 4 top all-time favorite wrestlers ever. So it's like it's the student wrestling the teacher, wrestling the master. So I mean, there's a whole built-in story there, which is really nice.
Yeah. And Juice here, I mean, he was, for the most part, he was the babyface in this match, with Tanahashi kind of playing like subtle heel, so that way Juice can fire up.
I love when Tanahashi plays heel. I've seen him do it in DDT. We saw it years ago when he started to try to like kind of tease that in his feud with Okada.
Yeah.
And every now and again we get like grumpy old man Tanahashi, which is like who I think...
and he was wearing all black too, the dark ace.
Yeah, I think he's going to go that way one of these days. Like not like be a full-on heel, but like... when he's
just be like grumpy Tana.
When he's a New Japan dad, he's just gonna be like the grumpiest, like meanest.
He's gonna be dad. Like Tiger Mask, just out there like slapping the crap out of young boys.
Yeah, I'm gonna love it too.
Oh man. So in this match here, Tana's, we saw a lot of dragon screws.
Yeah, from Tanahashi.
Yeah. Working on Juice's leg.
Oh yeah, he worked the legs extensively in this match, which was him trying to set up for the cloverleaf.
Right, not the sharpshooter.
Kevin Kelly.
No, that's Don Callis.
Don Callis.
Every leg holds a sharpshooter. But yeah, so he was trying to work the Texas cloverleaf.
The first half of this, it was not bad. It was, Tanahashi showing that he was better, like when it came to grappling and like you said, kind of being a jerk. Where this match really started to heat up was once it got to the floor.
Yeah.
And basically like Tanahashi was like trying to attack Juice's knees on the post, and then or actually no, that's not what happened. I forget. How did they end up on the outside? Oh yeah. Tanahashi was looking for the high five flow.
Yeah.
And then this is actually that's where it really started. Okay, my bad. So Juice fired up with jabs. Tanahashi kicked out Juice's knees, and then Juice cut him off with a clothesline and went for the cannonball and missed. And Tanahashi like rolled out to the floor.
Right. Yeah.
And so then Juice threw him into the barricade and was trying to think of like what his next attack was. And they did a great sell here because he was like looking around. He acted like he's going to go back in the ring, and then he turned around and he thought about it and he was like, F it.
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to go for it.
I'm going to go for it.
And he goes for the cannonball, and Tana had a perfect sell. He was just like, no.
Yeah. Tanahashi put his hands up and he was like, no. And he hit it so beautifully, and I was like, wow, like this match literally just went up a couple notches in my book.
Yeah.
And then that's like when things started going really good. And Juice basically, when they went back inside, Juice went up top. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah. Juice went up top, and Tanahashi crotched him, and then he looked for the high five flow, and then Juice either on purpose or accidentally bumped into the referee,
right,
into Uno, and hit him into the ropes, and then that crotched Tanahashi, and I was like, all right, here we go. This is some drama right now. And then they kept fighting. He went for several different like clover leafs. At that point, that's when they started going into like the teases for like the pulp friction and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And then eventually it got to the point now where Juice, he got Tana down. He countered with that he hit that gut buster, like suplex thing.
I popped for that.
That was nice.
I popped for that.
Yeah, that was a very innovative move right there. And then Juice went to the top and he hit the crossbody, the high fly flow crossbody.
Yeah.
And then he hit the high fly flow frog splash.
Yeah, that frog splash was
great
cool.
near fall. I mean, it was like 2.75 seconds there that Tana barely got the shoulder up, man. And Juice couldn't believe it. So then he looks for Pulp Friction. Tana fights out. and they trade strikes. And Tana hits a dragon suplex, heads to the top, high fly flow to the back, and then high fly flow to the chest.
There was another really great near fall prior to that where Tanahashi went up and hit a standing high fly flow on the inside.
Yeah.
And he landed it, and then Juice rolled through.
Yes.
And I was like, I thought it was over. Like, I thought he just beat the ace.
A flash finish, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I say they'll play off the last match. So the same way he got that flash finish on Elgin, it looked for a split second like he'd done the same thing to Tanahashi, and I was like, wow, this is the Miracle Kid.
And it made it believable because he'd
already done it to Elgin.
Yeah.
So this match was stupendous, and I will say this. As impressed as I was with Tanahashi, and it was one of those performances where you're like, wow, Ace has still got it. Juice was as good, if not maybe better in this match. Like, he really raised his game to Tanahashi's level.
Yeah, what would you rate this match?
Like 4.25.
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe. Yeah, probably around there. Really,
And I'm
good.
surprised, like, looking back now, how long this match was. 29 minutes, 55 seconds.
Didn't seem like it.
Yeah.
It was a little slow in the beginning. The legwork, while it told a good story, was a little slow. I could see that. But, like, once it was to the outside and they did that cannonball spot, it was all action nonstop from there. And, I mean, for me, when a match gets in the second gear or third gear or whatever, at the end, that always leaves a better impression for me than if it was like hot and then slow. And you know what I mean? Like, a good ending sequence to a match is always gonna. That's why I like Okada matches so much.
Yeah, because there's ending sequences. Yeah.
Same thing with Tanahashi matches. So yeah, I thought that this match was awesome. And then at the end of it too, like Juice and him, like the interactions that they had where he like
helped him up. He helped him finally shaked his hand.
Yeah, so
he earned Tanahashi's respect.
Yep. And the people were behind Tanahashi the whole match, but Juice put in such a good performance at the end that they were chanting his name when the match was over.
Yeah.
So I thought I was like, even though Juice didn't win, like, this was another like elevating performance for him, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, so Tanahashi goes on. My bracket is still good. Juice gets elevated in a spot that I didn't ever expect him to be in. So, I mean, that's freaking awesome. So
yeah, I mean, I really want to see Juice Robinson win a title this year.
I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
I mean, his timing and his selling and his facial, like, expressions and his body language are just, he's getting so comfortable in the ring and he's knowing how to read a match and build drama on a level. I'm like, this is a main event guy. Like, he wrestles main event style. Like, he's really good.
And I know his goal, he wants to win the Never title, so maybe we'll see him in Goto some point later this year.
Good luck with that. He's going to win the Strong Style World Championship.
I don't know, man.
Maybe it won't be the Strong Style World Championship anymore. Maybe it'll be something else.
I think the Intercontinental title has become the Strong Style Championship now.
For now. But it seemed like for years, like, that Never title, like, I've just always thought, like, this is the World Strong Style World title.
Yeah. Like, you hold this belt, you're risking your life.
How about earlier on the show, they did that four-way with Bushi, Sonata, Naito, and Takahashi against Desperado, Kanemaru, Zack Sabre Jr., and Taka. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the match, I'm sorry, that's the wrong match.
That was the night before, right?
No, I'm thinking about when Gato and Okada wrestled Iizuka and Suzuki. And we got that stare down post match with
both champs.
Yeah, both champs holding up their titles against each other, and I was like, maybe we'll see that down the line.
Yeah, champion versus champion matchup.
That's what Okada's been doing every night on this tour, is just wrestling guys that could potentially challenge him again down the line.
Yeah, I mean, he's wrestled Suzuki, Ibushi a lot of times, and
Tanahashi.
Tana, yeah.
I think him and Naito were against one another one of the nights. Maybe I could be wrong.
I think so.
So yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, but
to say the least.
What you were mentioning was what you were thinking about was that tag match, that LIJ versus Suzuki-gun, where LIJ got the win, and then post match there was a brawl between
the juniors.
Yeah, Bushi and Takahashi and Kanemaru and Desperado, and then Roppongi 3K came out of the crowd in street clothes, and beat both teams down.
That's right. Yeah, that is what I was thinking of. So it looks like they're going in the way of another three-way dance for the junior tag titles.
Yeah, this is pretty much becoming like the heavyweight tag at the end of last year, where you had God, War Machine, and KES in three ways, like back to back for like 5-6 shows in a row.
I mean, I imagine this would have to be better than that.
I mean, it will be better than that, but I'm just saying, like, that's...
But, yeah, a couple other notes before we talk about the last night here. How about Dave Finlay's been doing commentary?
Yeah.
So that's been interesting. The first night, I thought it was atrocious.
Yeah.
Like, really, really, really bad. I saw a lot of people that liked it, but I just thought he seemed really nervous. I don't mean to tear him down or anything, but I'll call a spade a spade. I didn't think it was good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of hard depending on the tours. I guess, like, Rocky Romero wasn't there, because he normally does.
I don't think Rocky Romero's very good either. But in a way, like, maybe this... I don't know, Rocky Romero kind of seems, like, stuck in his ways, and, like, Dave Finlay's a young guy. Maybe he's, like, willing to kind of, like, learn, but...
Yeah. He was the best at the main event with Tana and Juice.
Yeah,
I think it's because
he was involved with those two guys.
Right, he's so close with both those guys, and like Juice is like one of his best friends. So he was like really into that match.
There was one thing that was funny was the night, I don't remember which night it was, but the night where Fale got in the ring and attacked the ring announcer, and Kevin Kelly was like he said something to Dave Finlay when he got on commentary. He's like, "What? Did you see that?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he attacked the ring announcer." And he's like, "You know why he does that, right?" And Kevin Kelly's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, it's because they called him Tama one time." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, they called him Tama Tonga, and ever since then he's had a blind hatred for all ring announcers." And he's like, "Oh, well, that makes sense." And he's like, "I don't blame him."
He's like, "It's justified."
It's justified.
Oh man,
really funny stuff.
All right, so now on to night 8 of the New Japan Cup. Again, only one tournament match with the main event of Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Sonata.
How about this? Shota Umino and Ren Narita had a singles match to open the show.
So yeah, I missed the undercard
of this one.
Of this show, I didn't get a chance to see.
You've seen everything up to except for you saw the main event, and then you saw all the other shows completely. You just missed the undercard.
Right. This is the only night that I missed the undercard.
There really was. I mean, every show's been solid. There's been except for there was a terrible. Oh my God, Jeremy. The Ishii Yano against Taichi and Iizuka is so bad, and it's like 9 minutes, and it goes to a DQ, an actual DQ, bro.
Well, I'm glad I missed that.
But Umino and Narita wasn't like anything great, but I just figured we should probably mention it because it's so off, like few and far between we see these young lions go one-on-one, and Umino beat Narita with the Boston Crab. I thought it was a pretty good match. It was. I think from the last time I saw these two guys wrestle each other in the Young Lion Cup, it was an improvement.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good match. Nothing else really crazy happened on this except for, there was one thing. Dave Finlay and Hiroshi Tanahashi wrestled Okada and Chucky T. Mm-hmm. And Dave Finlay got out of the Awful Waffle and rolled up Chucky T and got the 1-2-3.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean.
Big win. That's a big win.
That's a big win for Dave Finlay. Like...
We said it multiple times. Like anytime like Dave Finlay comes out, we're like, oh, well, that team's losing.
Yeah, pretty much. And at the end of that match, Tanahashi and Okada stared each other down. And Okada held up the IWGP title, and Tanahashi put his hand up. And I was like, oh. So they've been teasing a lot. So we're missing out on quite a few different things here.
Yeah, the Suzuki and Naito stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah, tell us about that.
So there have been a couple of multi-man matches throughout this tour. LIJ versus Suzuki-gun with Naito and Suzuki in there. And of course, Naito being tranquilo, pissing off Suzuki, not taking Suzuki seriously, and kind of frustrating Suzuki.
He's been turning his back to him at the opening of every match. Like, not even caring if they jump him or anything.
And usually when it comes to like title defenses, like Suzuki, usually it's not like quick to like challenge people, and like he makes people chase him.
Well, he won't offer a title shot to anybody. Like, right. He's like, defend my belt. Why would I do that? I'm the champion.
What a dumb concept. But, one night he, like, laid the belt down to...
He was so frustrated with Naito. He, like, wanted to get his hands on him.
Yeah, he laid the belt, like, come on. You want to challenge for the belt? Like, I want to get my hands on you. Like, I want to gotch power drive you. So I'm guessing, I'm looking at the screenshot. I guess this night there was another encounter between them.
Yeah, they had another match. LIJ ended up winning, and then the Young Boys had to come in and restrain Suzuki.
Yeah.
And then they like pulled him like to where he was like leaving, and then he like ran back into the ring and tried to attack Naito again. Naito like didn't do anything, like, and then they basically like held Suzuki back again. So Suzuki's like starting to get like, he's really getting under Suzuki's skin.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that this is leading to a title match between them, which is kind of interesting because this is a dude who just lost the first round of the New Japan Cup, but I guess it didn't drop his stock enough to where he's not in a title.
This thought just came to me, so bear with me here. Do you think that Naito is kind of being positioned at the Nakamura level?
Yeah, I've said that.
Yeah.
You think you just came up with that? No, I came up with that. I said that. I said
my bad. I guess I missed that.
Episodes ago, man. I think you know what? Actually, it might not have been here. It might have been when I did the SMC podcast with Rance and Caleb.
Caleb and Carl.
Carl was not on that episode. But I said essentially like he's in the Nakamura or the Shinsuke Nakamura role where he doesn't need the title.
But I mean, he can get the IC title and
he can elevate another title. I think he does eventually need to get a big title run, but maybe not like this month. Right. But yeah, I was saying like back then, I was saying this is like right off after
Wrestle Kingdom.
Like, what are your thoughts on it? Because obviously, great minds think alike. I'm not accusing you of stealing my freaking thing, even though you did.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That Wrestle Kingdom episode you did with those guys was a while ago. But yeah, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, Naito, super hot like guy, like with the crowd, super hot. Top guy, charismatic,
sells
like
all the merch.
Like he could easily like be like kind of like Nakamura was with the IC belt, and like when you think about the IC belt, you think about Nakamura and like all the great matches he had with that belt, and like
he's leading the most popular faction.
Yeah, kind of like held it down.
Yeah.
So I can easily see that being Naito's role, like, and especially now with this whole rivalry where he's like getting under Suzuki's skin. I think, like, if they have a title match, I could see Naito winning because Suzuki will be might be too aggressive and throwing off his game, and then Naito, like, pulls one out on him.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I'm going to hold off making predictions until I see a card in front of me, but I mean, I don't doubt you at all. That could definitely happen. So it's been interesting. I didn't think they were going to go that way, but it's, with the New Japan Cup, like, kind of taking up all the airspace and everything like that, it's hard to like to predict what's going to happen. We've got 2 really big shows coming up the rest of this month. We've got actually 3. We've got the New Japan Cup finals this coming Wednesday. We've got Strong Style Evolved on Sunday, and then 1 week later we got Sakura Genesis, and that's right before we go to WrestleMania. So we don't even have a card announced for Genesis. We only have 3 matches, and only 2 of them are for sure happening at Strong Style Evolved. So everything's been up in the air. It's been hard to like really predict what's going to happen between now and then. And things are starting to just now shake out,
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this tournament match between Sabre and Sonata. And something, too, that I don't know if we mentioned it last week, but I know we talked about it off air, that about Takamichi Nohu is kind of like the ghetto for Zack Sabre Jr., cutting the promos every night, hyping him up.
Well, I saw somebody post about this, and it was very interesting. They were saying that, Zack Sabre Jr., when he usually has his post-match promos, they tend to be very lengthy and wordy and not something that necessarily gets him over with the fans or pops them,
Yeah.
But having this guy who is his mouthpiece and can kind of deliver promos to the Japanese audience, he's really delivering a very, very simple like idea. If you face Zack Sabre Jr., you will tap out.
Right.
That's all he's saying.
And then each night he just talks about everybody he's tapped out.
Just tap out.
He tapped out Naito. He tapped out Ibushi.
He's tapped out. We talked about it. He's tapped out a lot of guys since he's been in New Japan. I mean, he beat Shibata. He beat Ishii. He beat Fale. He beat Tanahashi already. I mean, he's beaten a lot of top guys so far in his run. And I mean, this is just kind of continue that. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So the winner of this match will meet Tana in the finals.
Here's another thing I saw that I thought was very interesting. Oh, maybe we'll hold off for the preview. We'll hold off for the preview.
Okay.
I'll mention it though. I'm not gonna forget.
Okay. So this match, I feel like it started off a little bit slow. Kind of like almost like a feeling out process. And I think Sonata did a great job in the beginning, almost kind of like keeping up with Saber and trying to like keep up with the wrestling.
His athleticism and the fact that he's so prodigious in different aspects of the game really made it difficult for Zack Sabre Jr. Plus, obviously, it's a tournament that they're going they are wrestling every single night. So they're not in tournament matches every night, but every night of the tour, these guys have been wrestling. So that plays into the storyline of like, these guys are not getting off nights. They're,
Right.
And also Sonata's getting an opportunity to study Zach and see what does and doesn't work for him. So with that being said, it kind of gave him a bit of an advantage, and he did better against Zack Sabre Jr. in this tournament than either Naito or Ibushi did.
Right. He's put up more of a fight than those guys. Something interesting, at one point Sonata got Sabre in the Paradise Lock, and because Sabre is like the escape, wizard, I was thinking maybe he would have found a way out of the Paradise Lock.
Not out of Milano's Paradise Lock. Apparently. The most escapable move in the whole world, like the best technical wrestler can't escape it even. You gotta be kidding me.
There's only one key to unlocking the Paradise Lock.
You have to get kicked in the butt.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't like the Paradise Lock at all. I know
you hate that move. Every time it happens, you get pissed off.
Because it's bullcrap. Because it's supposed to be sports style, and this is the most I cannot suspend my belief to think that someone can not get out of that. Or even get put in it to begin with. Come on, man. Come on.
Well, maybe you need to get locked up in the Paradise Lock, Josh.
I'll get out. I'll just pull my arms out.
You'll expose the business.
God. There was a funny promo that Zack Sabre Jr. did the night before he wrestled Ibushi, and he was like, Ibushi, if you try to, I know you're a madman, but if you try to go to the top of one of these balconies and you try to moonsault on me, I'm gonna freaking move. He's like, I'm gonna move, and then I'm gonna take what's left of your carcass, and I'm gonna drag it into that ring, and I'm gonna put you in a heel hook and submit you. And I was like, that's great. And he's like, why would you just stand there if someone is throwing their body on top of you off a building? You just move. And I was like, Zack Sabre is great.
This man out here exposing the business.
Yeah. But this match was, there was a lot of chain wrestling. It was a very chain grappling centric match, and I mean, obviously Sonata didn't get the better of most of the exchanges, but he was very competent most of the time, and he even was able to work certain hold. There were times where Sabre was having trouble with him, but Sabre would typically get out and then work his holds and then create the drama. And as in the beginning, it was all it was very even, and as time went on and Sonata got tireder and tireder, it got harder and harder for him to keep up with Zack Sabre's pace, which is neck. It's I don't know. It's what do you call it when a guy's going really fast or whatever? They call it neck break pace or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I know that. I think I know what you're talking about.
Breakneck pace. I don't know.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the phrase.
Whatever. He's got a lot of stamina. His stamina bar stays full.
Yeah, and Sonata had a beautiful Saito suplex at one point. Sabre had him in the abdominal stretch, and he countered out and hit that nice Saito suplex.
Yeah. Yeah, he was mixing up the match a lot more with strikes, and Sonata was trying to move a lot, so it wasn't like he was just playing Zack Sabre's game, even though he could. He was doing a lot of athletic movement and running the ropes and big drop kicks, things like that, to try to keep Zack Sabre guessing. But every time Zack really got a chance, he would essentially start working his mat-based wrestling, and it was that was the problem for Sonata.
Yeah, and after that, Saito.
Oh, and the arms.
Oh yeah.
He was killing his arms.
Yeah.
That was the
game plan.
The whole game plan.
That way he wouldn't be able to lock in the skull in.
Which I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Brilliant, man. The IQ, the technical IQ of this man.
His ring?
In-ring technician.
His ring generalship.
Yeah. But yeah, after that Saito suplex, Sonata got a near fall for that. Then he went for the moonsault, but landed on his feet. But then Sabre hit a PK and immediately went back to work on the arm and was stomping on Sonata's arm. Sonata came back with the springboard missile drop kick, and both of them are down. Sabre hits with a series of uppercuts and counters a TKO into a hanging Kimura.
Yeah.
And Sonata powers out and then gets into the skull end, but then Sabre escapes and goes right back to the arm, hits the European clutch for a 2 count. Sonata gets out of the clutch right back into a skull end, but Sabre rolls back into another European clutch for 2. Sonata hits a big European uppercut, but Sabre counters the TKO into a triangle.
That was a cool spot. Yeah. He eventually ended up hitting the TKO, got a near fall. He went for a tiger suplex, got another near fall. And then at that point, Zach countered a moonsault into a triangle again. That's when he got that triangle, it was so tight. That's when I said to you, I was like, yo, it's about to be over. And you were like, yeah. He started hitting him with the elbows again. Because Sonata was hitting him with the offense, but it was looking like he was getting tired. You could tell like he was dragging. Yeah. And then at that point, Zach went into an armbar, and then he started moving into like this really crazy like bow and arrow type of move, and he just tied him up very similar to like the way he tied up Naito on night 1. And then Sonata just like, he shook his head, and I was like, oh, he tapped out again. And that was it. Zack Sabre Jr. beat Sonata at 26 minutes. Now, I thought this was a little long. It was a good match. It was not as good as
the previous matches. Yeah, his last 2 matches were both better than this, but
overall, very good match. It was like 3 3/4. I mean, so you really can't 3.5, 3 3/4, something like that. So I mean, you really can't complain. And Zach's just so good, man. I don't know what else there is to say. Like, I went from like not even caring that he was going to be in this tournament to like, I don't know if he's winning or not. Like, I have Tanahashi picked, but I kind of like, they're putting over Zack Sabre Jr. so strong that it's either to get Tanahashi over or it's to get Okada over, one or the other.
Did anybody have Tana Sabre as their finals?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess if you want to do that, we could do that right now. So I mean, we obviously, if you're listening, many of you, we are running the New Japan Cup bracket tournament or award. We're giving out a free T-shirt to whoever has the most accurate bracket. And we're at the point now where we're at the finals, so we already know what the finals are going to be. And I thought we would have to wait to see who won the finals to get a winner, but in this case, we're not going to have to. We have a winner already. And the reason for this is because Zack Sabre Jr. busted everyone's brackets.
Yeah.
So there are several people that had Tanahashi going to the finals. About 25% of the brackets have Tanahashi going to the finals, but nobody had Zack Sabre Jr. winning the tournament.
Right.
Like, not a single bracket. We had several brackets that have Zack Sabre Jr. going to the finals, but none of them have him winning, and none of them have him up against Tanahashi. And the more I did,
that's why I asked if anybody had Tana and Sabre,
except for one person. Except for one person, and that winner is actually, I don't know if it's Taylor Howard or Howard Taylor, because it says Taylor.HowardDJ.
I think it's Howard Taylor.
So Howard Taylor, you are the winner. You have won. So let's look at his bracket here. So he had Yoshihashi going over Ibushi. Oh, I'm sorry. He had sorry, Howard. He had Ibushi going over Yoshihashi round 1. He had Sabre Jr. going into round 2. He did pick Davey Boy to beat Yano, which when I saw that, I was like, this guy knows nothing. No, I'm just playing, but I thought it was questionable, but I could see that. He had Sonata winning. He did have Ishii beating Elgin, which was a big bracket buster for most people. But then he had Juice, Tanahashi, and Fale. So he had 6 of the first 2 correct. What really set him apart, because there was people that had way more accurate round 1s, but in round 2, he had 3 round winners picked accurately. He had Sabre going over Ibushi, Sonata going over. So even though he thought Davey Boy is going into the next round, he still had Sonata.
Yeah.
He had Ishii going over Juice, which who wouldn't? And then he had Tanahashi going over Fale. So his last two matches ended up being the actual last two matches. He had Sabre Jr. against Sonata and Ishii. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He did pick wrong about Ishii, but he had Tanahashi going over Ishii and Sabre Jr. going over Sonata, and he's the only person that ended up with the final of Tanahashi against Sabre. Now, at this point, if Tanahashi wins, he'll finish with 22 points in the scoring system that I used. But even if Tanahashi loses to Zack Sabre Jr., he still has more points than the next closest person, which is Royland Miyamoto.
Yeah.
He's beating Royland by about 3 points, so that's about one pick, basically.
Yeah.
And Royland actually had every single match from the first round accurate. What busted his brackets was that he had Elgin going over Juice. So Juice obviously beat Elgin, and then he had Ibushi going all the way to the finals. And because of that, he ended up with, he has Tanahashi winning as well, but without Zack Sabre Jr. there, it kind of killed his bracket. I am proud to say that yours truly did come in third place in this tournament out of every single bracket that we got here.
You beat me out.
Yeah, and I ended up with the Tanahashi Ibushi final as well. Both of these guys beat me, so I mean, Royland Miyamoto, good job. You came in number 2. Shout out on the show. We're not getting you a free shirt, but we might in the future. But we do appreciate you playing. But we will be buying a shirt for Howard Taylor.
So Howard, I'll be contacting you through email to figure out what T-shirt you would like and where I can send that to you.
It's really crazy though. I mean, there was like very, very, very few people that had Zack Sabre Jr. Many people had him beating Naito. Almost nobody had him beating Ibushi.
Yeah.
And so that's like crazy. Like Zack Sabre Jr. against Tanahashi in the finals. Like that's crazy. And what's even crazier, I don't know who's going to win.
I mean, at the pace that Sabre is going, like I would not be surprised if he taps out Tana. And plus, if you look back at it, like a lot of these guys he's beaten, like he lost to before. And so with Tana, he beat Tana in the G1. Then Tana beat him at that King of Pro Wrestling? No.
Was it Power Struggle?
Power Struggle? I think so.
Maybe.
I think it was Power Struggle.
Okay.
So Tana beat him back. So now they're even. So
was it Destruction?
I forget, but
I can't remember.
It was IC title defense, and Tana beat him.
I'll look it up.
So
what's cage match for after all?
So they're tied up here. So Sabre could get a win back here, and
yeah, this is the rubber match between them. It was Destruction in Hiroshima.
Yeah,
it was. I was right. Destruction. Yes. So they've had 2 good matches. Their first match at the G1 I think was better than the Destruction match. That Destruction match I think was like the worst New Japan show of the year last year, actually.
The whole show?
The whole show, yeah.
Yeah,
surprisingly, that was not a very good show. But this is going to be the rubber match. And I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. is going into the match with all the momentum in the world. So this is what I was going to say. Someone pointed this out on Reddit, and I thought it was very, very interesting. They said if he beats Tanahashi, he's going to have beaten 4 aces in a row, if you really think about it, because Naito has been referred to as the Dark Ace. He's seen as like the dark, like the secondary guy, kind of like that Nakamura role. He beat Ibushi, who's the former DDT ace. He beat Sonata, who's the former Wrestle 1 ace. And then obviously he's going up against the ace of the universe, Tanahashi. So these are all guys that at one point or another have carried companies, and that means a lot in Japan, and that puts him in a different level altogether as far as like believability and like just being authentic going against Okada. A month ago, if you told me Zack Sabre Jr. against Okada, I wouldn't even cared about that match or even thought it was anything. This is why the booking in New Japan is so good. Like Gato is so freaking good, bro. I'm just like, I'm blown by this.
Yeah, man.
I'm blown by this guy's run. Like, this is a guy we didn't even want to see like a year ago. Like I've seen him wrestle in person, and I saw him wrestle Pentagon, and I like wasn't that impressed. And I know how good he is, but he's like blowing me away.
Yeah, I have not seen him in person yet. Like I mentioned, like before the CWC, all I saw were clips and seeing Dave's reviews and stuff, and then wasn't impressed in the CWC. But I've definitely turned the corner on ZSJ, and I'm becoming a fan of his work now.
You gonna get a shirt? You can get a shirt, Jeremy?
I don't know if we're at that level yet. I don't know. We might be rocking more Social Suplex shirts now that we're starting to get those made. We have the knockoff Suplex brand Social Suplex shirts right now.
Yeah, those shirts are hard. So we went out to NXT the other night, or just last night. Yeah. And guys, this show was awesome. Okay, I know it's Keeping It Strong Style, but like, you guys might think that this is a point of interest. We got to see in the same night. We got to see both War Machine and Ricochet.
Hey, former New Japan guys, so this fits in.
And Adam Cole. We saw
Kyle O'Reilly.
We saw Kyle O'Reilly, yes. Oh, you guys would have been so proud of me.
For $10.40.
No, let me put myself over.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're in this smarky NXT like Largo crowd, which it's a great crowd. And actually, guys, so the word was out that, that all these like top... So Largo's near where we live. We live in like Tampa. NXT, when they come to Tampa, it's always like the better shows, but then there's smaller cities, like Largo's one of them, and they typically have like not the top guys from NXT. They have the guys that come in that aren't even on TV a lot of times. So we go to those shows from time to time. It's fun, but on this particular night, there was rumblings that like a lot of the top guys were going to be there. So we tried to get tickets in the morning, and it was sold out. Luckily, I got to connect like at the 11th hour. And we ended up with some tickets. So we ended up going to this show, and everybody was there. Like, everybody. It was so awesome. But so Kyle O'Reilly, who did he wrestle? He wrestled
Eric Young.
Eric Young of TNA fame. And, Eric Young's the face, and I'm the biggest Kyle O'Reilly mark. So, like, every single time, like, and this is like a very traditional like crowd. So like they go for the faces, and then they boo the heels, which I'm all about that, unless it's Kyle O'Reilly. And so like it was like dead silence, and like Kyle would do something and cheat, and people would boo, and I'd be like, "That's right, Kyle. Use your mind. like that's okay." And like he'd take a power. I'm like, "That's all right, Kyle. Make him wrestle your match, Kyle."
And there was like a little kid sitting in front of us, and I was like looking back every time, like
yeah, he was getting mad at me because I was on Kyle O'Reilly's side.
Right, you were cheering the bad guy.
Yeah, I wasn't even cheering him. I was coaching him.
Yeah,
I felt like I was giving him
you were ghetto for him.
Yeah, and like the crowd was like quiet enough to where like everyone could hear me doing it. It was so funny, and I'm not usually one to like put myself over like that in a crowd, but I just like. It's Kyle O'Reilly, guys. Like he's freaking awesome. He comes out there and he plays like
the guitar on the title.
Like it's so funny. But it was a really good show. We marked so hard when we saw Ricochet.
Well, first it was War Machine.
Oh.
There was TM61 versus No Way Jose and Trent Seven.
Yeah.
In which Trent Seven spotted out our Social Suplex shirts.
Yeah, he pointed us out because he saw the suplex and he was like, yeah, which was really funny.
Yeah.
And then
so they lost to TM61, and then War Machine came out, and
we knew who it was. Like the lights went out and the red lights came on, and we started marking, and like no one else knew who it was. We're like, War Machine, War Machine,
and then they came out and like wrecked those dudes and wrote it the awesome the knee thing that we liked.
Yeah, with the V trigger.
Yeah.
We popped so hard, and like the crowd only kind of popped, and I was like, you no idea.
You don't know yet.
You don't know yet. I was like, better than the Bucks. better than the Bucks.
And then, of course, Rich is like, better than the Road Warriors.
So that was cool, you know.
And then the main event was Ricochet versus Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, so Adam Cole came out and they didn't announce who the main event was going to be. We didn't know who it was, and then it took a long time. It was quiet, and then this weird generic music we never heard before. I think it wasn't even like, I don't even think that's going to be his music. I think it's just some random generic music. And then we stood up and I was like, is it Ricochet? Is it Ricochet? Is it Ricochet? And like no one else. And then Ricochet came out. And we're like, oh!
We like lose our minds, dude. We're like jumping up and down.
Do you know that I elbowed that lady in the head?
Oh, you did?
Yeah, bro. I elbowed the lady sitting in front of us. I elbowed her in the head on accident, and she was just sitting there, like she was just some mom who like wasn't into the show at all. She was just there because of her kid. And then I like got in her ear. I was like, "Ma'am, I am so sorry."
Oh man, I missed it.
But then I kept marking, and then I was like, "Yeah!"
I was marking so hard I wasn't paying attention to anything else around me. I was jumping up and down.
And it was a really
screaming.
good match. I mean, we're not gonna like talk your guys' ear off all night about NXT, but just the fact of getting to see these guys that I've seen in Korakuen and at Wrestle Kingdom and for years and years on the Indies and in Japan. For $10 I got to go see them in Largo, Florida, like for free, or not for free, but like
almost
like it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome,
great.
and it was a really good show. So yeah, I thought that, but Ricochet came out and he saw our social suplex shirts.
Yeah, him too. Yeah,
and he pointed at us.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Is Ricochet pointing at us?"
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, if you go to follow us on Twitter at Social Suplex, there's a picture of me, Young Boy, and Rich Latta from One Nation Radio wearing the Social Suplex shirts, and you'll see why these guys were pouring them out.
It was cool. It was really cool. Like I felt like important. Like I was an actual like something.
Yeah, we're over.
Which we're not, but that was cool.
Yeah. All right.
I felt like I was in this business.
We are in this business. Was there anything else on New Japan Cup before we move on to news?
Who do you think's? What's your prediction?
Final predictions?
What is your prediction?
Oh, man.
So here's something that I thought was interesting. So I was reading someone's comments and they were saying, it's such a great setup for this match, the story behind it, because you have Tanahashi, who is trying to come back from his injury, going up against a guy who, when he was injured in the past, exploited it, and also is working the whole gimmick of just tap out.
Yeah.
And what happened to Tanahashi just a month ago, like, he was in a match where he should have just tapped out, and he didn't, and it sidelined him. And he's from the same exact faction.
Yeah.
He's the number 2 guy. I mean, unless you count Taichi as being the number 2 guy, like Zack Saber's like the next guy in line. And so it sets up what could hypothetically be a redemption story for Tanahashi, like him overcoming the odds, coming back and going up against this monster who's tapping everybody out. At this point, does Zack Sabre Jr. need to win the tournament? Like, I think in a way he kind of does, but if he doesn't, it doesn't detract from the fact that he beat Sonata, Ibushi, and Naito. Mm-hmm. And will probably, if he loses, fall to Tanahashi in a match that he'll probably end up dominating anyways. And then Tanahashi will probably skate by in a way to where both guys look good is one way. That's one way it could go. And it tells an amazing story where like Tanahashi has to overcome another submission artist to get his one last shot at glory. Or you've got Zack Sabre Jr. who's tapping everybody out, going against a guy who like that's his weakness right now. Like, think about who Tanahashi has wrestled so far. He's wrestled a cheater. He's wrestled a big muscular guy. He's wrestled a young hot baby face. But he hasn't wrestled a true technician with like submission skills. So it's like the last archetype that he needs to overcome before he can get his shot at the glory again. And if he can't win that, then he's not ready for that title shot, and it elevates Zack to a level where like he beat 4 aces in a row. And it makes him so believable. And like we talked about, can they sell out? Sumo Hall's probably going to sell out either way. But I mean, with the performances he's put in and the guys he's beat, I believe with the Japanese crowd, it would really put him over. So, I mean, you've got two really compelling stories there.
Yeah, good argument for both guys. Man, this is tough. I think I'm going to go all in on the submission master, ZSJ, Zack Sabre Jr.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that sucks, because I was going to do the same thing.
I mean, we both had.
I'm so
I was
conflicted.
torn, but I'm just gonna go all in on Sabre.
I'm gonna go with Tanahashi, but I think Zach. Okay, I'll just say this: I want Tanahashi to win. I picked him for my bracket, so I'm gonna stick by my bracket. But I kind of think he's gonna lose. But I don't like to bet against the ace.
I know. That's why it's tough, man.
The last time I did that I bet against, well, no, the last time I bet against him, he lost and I was right. But the time before that, when I was conflicted with Jay White,
yeah,
I shouldn't have bet against him, and that bit me in the butt. I could see it go either way. That is what makes this an excellent main event. Like an excellent main event, because we don't know who's going to win, and it's been a while. I mean, not a while, but like. It's few and far between. It's pretty rare when you get those types of matches where it's 50-50.
Go either way, yeah.
And the way they built up this tournament, it's been a fantastic tournament. So, yeah, let's just say that. Let's say you take Zack Sabre Jr. and then I'll be right, and I'll take Tanahashi.
Let's do that.
No, I don't want to, because Zack Sabre's going to win. I'm choosing Zack Sabre Jr. to win the whole thing. And if we look like idiots together, we look like idiots. Yes, I don't care.
Yeah, next week we can come on this show and talk about either how right we were or how wrong we were.
I mean, I think we're pretty adamant right now. We don't know who's going to win. Yeah. And it's that tough.
I mean, it's literally not even like a prediction. It's like a guess pretty much at this point.
That is exactly what it is. We're just guessing right now. Like some very highly educated
I'm not even 100% like confident in this guess, but I'm leaning towards Sabre.
They've been building Zack Sabre Jr. up in such a scary, dominant way that no, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a flip-flopper, but I think they've done enough for this guy. They built him up enough. It's fine. The New Japan Cup is fine. I'm going with Tanahashi because I still think it's the marketable match that they need to.
But think about this, though. Okada needs a challenge. He needs something new, a new challenge. What better new challenge than this submission monster that has destroyed all these aces? And it's like a believable, like...
It is, but Tanahashi...
Can he tap Okada out?
Here's the thing, though. Tanahashi's coming back to try to stop that 11th title defense. Yeah. Not only that, but they gotta. It's Sumo Hall, and they haven't done Tanahashi and Okada in a long time, and it's gonna be a fantastic match. And I feel like you could be right, but they built up Zack Sabre Jr. to have this really strong run in this tournament, so that Tanahashi could overcome that last doubtful test of can he beat like a submission guy, so that he can earn his last. This will be like his last big title run, I think. Well, I could be wrong. It's Tanahashi, but for now, it's going to be a while. If he doesn't win this, it'll be a while before he gets a title shot. And I think he's winning. I think he's going to go to Secure Genesis.
Man, I'm literally stressing out about thinking about who's going to win this match.
Well, it's going to be Wednesday, Jeremy. So we will be watching it. We will see it live the next day. And it's we'll see what only time will tell.
Yeah.
Hey, who do you guys think? Now that we're at the finals, you guys hit us up. Tweet us at
KI Strong Style.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Or at Social Suplex.
Let us know who you guys think are going to win. And because I want to see what the general consensus is here. I don't know what people think.
Yeah.
I have a feeling a lot of people out there are going to pick Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
Based on how things are going. We need to send some polls out there and get some feedback.
Yeah, we'll do that. Maybe I'll put a poll up on our Twitter at KI Strong Style, see what people are feeling.
You can do that on Twitter?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Clearly, like we said, Josh is not on Twitter.
I don't know what you can do on that thing. It's pretty cool.
He's on the Twitter machine. All right, let's dive into news. We kind of have a light news week.
We got through all the shows?
Yeah.
Man, that's impressive.
We're not going to have a 3-hour episode this week.
Yeah, we need
But I want to give a shout out to you guys because the last 3 or 4 weeks in a row, the episodes have like broken the Wrestle Kingdom episode we did.
Yeah, they've all had more listens and downloads than that one did.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, you guys are like downloading and spreading the word, and we greatly appreciate. Even with our 3-hour episode, y'all are still downloading and listening.
Even with all the downvoters on Reddit that are trying to hate on us,
they're trying to bury us.
Trying to bury us on Reddit. I don't know why. Like, our show is pretty good. Like, I don't know, like every week it seems like all of a sudden I go on there and there's all these downvotes and I'm like, what the freak? And then I look at like the numbers and like we did better numbers than we did the week before, and I'm like,
yeah, it's a battle. Like, I'll click on it and there's gonna be a bunch of upvotes, come back like 20 minutes later, bunch of downvotes, bunch of upvotes, downvotes. It's like a struggle.
Yeah, they don't want us invading the
territory.
The territory, yeah.
They're afraid of the young lion trying to move up the ranks and challenge the ace.
Oh man.
Even though we are the ace.
We're Killmonger. We're Lanny Poffo, and we're the outlaw territory. Oh my god.
Man. We're the NWO.
Yeah. So a couple different things going on in the news this week. So I think we've kind of mentioned this individual on the show before, and it's someone that we'd like to kind of reach out to down the road. But Chris Charlton, who is always putting out some of the best content on the internet when it comes to Pro Resu and New Japan Pro Wrestling specifically as well. He's an author. He's written books in the past. I think his last one was the history of
New Japan. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he has a new book that is coming out, and I saw he did an interview about it, and I thought it was worth making mention. This book is called Eggshells: Pro Wrestling in the Tokyo Dome, and this is a book that is going to encompass the entire complete history of professional wrestling in Japan's greatest arena, the Tokyo Dome. And he's looking through multiple historical sources, firsthand personal accounts, and telling the complete story of every single wrestling event in the building's 3 decades and the promotions and people that made the Big Egg a wrestling institution. And I mean, they're covering 559 different participants, 576 matches,
64 events, 10 promotions over 30 years.
Yeah, so I mean, this is, you can actually find out more about this project that he's working on at www.eggshellsbook.com. He has an Indiegogo website related to this, so if you want to support his project, we actually don't even ask for money to do this show, which is interesting, but so far he's raised $9,131 towards his goal, which was $5,000. So he's already hit the goal, but from what I understand, the more you support it, the better things will be. That's been raised by 216 different people, and it's not just because people are throwing money at this guy, just throw money. It's because they know that he puts in great work. You know what I mean? So if you can go to his Indiegogo.com/project/eggshells-pro-wrestling in the Tokyo Dome. You can find that there. And I mean, this is a book that it's not out yet, but he's still working on it. And I think if you're a fan of New Japan or a fan of Pro Resu in general,
right,
it's something you want to definitely check out. We follow him, the page does, right?
Yeah, and I was just looking to see what his Twitter, I believe it's Reason JP.
It is.
At Reason JP is his Twitter.
Yeah, so he's always breaking really cool stuff and putting out different content, like I said. So if you don't follow him, that's a resource you want to follow. What was his first book? Let me see.
The Lion's Pride book.
That is what it's called. I almost said A Lion's Tale, but I think that's the Jericho book.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to mess up on the air.
Yeah, it's Lion's Pride: The Turbulent History of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Which I haven't read it, but from all accounts, I know Rich swears by that book. He says the New Japan Bible.
Yeah. In the future, we are going to reach out to Mr. Charlton. We'd love to have him on the program to talk about both of his books.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something that I just thought was hey, if you enjoy reading and you're a New Japan fan, and you want to support something that's progressing, this product that we love, or, you enjoy the history behind it, you want to learn more, you probably want to read his books or support what he's doing and learn more, because I'm sure that the next book's going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
In other news, Strong Style Evolved is literally a week away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're recording on Sunday, so next Sunday.
This is snuck up on me.
Yeah, I mean, not that it has. I mean, it's like it's been promoted.
We've known about it, but
right? It's been promoted, but at the same time, like not over promoted, because the New Japan Cup's been going on. And like you mentioned earlier, there's 3 matches, but 2 of them are for sure happening because Mysterio and...
We don't even know if Ray is wrestling or not at this point.
So all we know is Young Bucks versus Golden Lovers.
Yeah. And
Jay White defending the U.S. title against Hangman Page.
So if you are going to be attending Strong Style Evolved, New Japan Pro Wrestling on March 16th came out with these important rules that you need to follow if you're going to be attending Strong Style Evolved. And they said if you're lucky enough to have a ticket for New Japan's biggest American show yet, they can't wait to see you, but come through. Please check out the following regulations. If you fail to comply with these rules, it could result in you being ejected from the building. So be mindful, be aware, and enjoy. So they do not play in New Japan. Things that you cannot bring to the Walter Pyramid: food, drinks, bicycles, skateboards, rollerblades, video cameras, flash photography, signs or banners, streamers.
What? No streamers?
No streamers. Animals, strollers, noisemakers, balloons, drugs, alcohol, weapons, and heaters. The Walter Pyramid is a non-smoking facility. So I thought that was very interesting. That
no alcohol. I guess Kanemaru can't bring in his bottle of Satori whiskey.
I think he gets a pass on it. I don't even know if he's going to be on the card, actually.
That's true, yeah.
But, you can't bring streamers, which, New Japan's not big on the streamers anymore anyways. But, no signs, no cameras, no banners.
No banners. A lot of people bring, like, the Chaos and LIJ and Suzuki banners.
Also, they are going to let people bring masks, but you cannot walk around the arena while wearing a mask. You can only wear your mask at your seat. If you are walking around wearing a mask at the venue or on the campus, they're going to ask you to take it off or they're going to eject you.
Dude, it's pretty tight rules for you guys going out to Strong Style Evolved.
So, yeah. So, that was something that I thought was, pretty interesting. Also, I see here there's a note on the New Japan website. This guy, Don Traub Bowden, says, anybody needs tickets. I've got 4 in section 108. Cannot make it out to the show. So there's no replies to it yet. But if you're looking for some tickets, I think there's still people on the Reddit. There's still people on NewJapan.com that are still selling their tickets. So
I know there was a mega thread in the New Japan Reddit.
Yeah. Speaking of Strong Style Evolved, so we know for a fact, if you have New Japan World, you're not going to be able to watch this show live.
Right. You have to watch live on Access TV, which luckily with my Sling subscription, I get access.
Sling subscription.
Oh, man.
So to get ready for the live broadcast of Strong Style Evolved next week, Access TV is going to be continuing its Friday night series on March 16th and March 23rd. That being said, they're going to be running special episodes of the weekly New Japan Pro Wrestling show on Access TV. And let's see here. What do we got on the docket?
So it looks like it starts off
March 16th.
March 16th, which is the Friday that just passed. And they did the New Beginning in Osaka with Goto and Evil for the Never title.
Oh, God.
And Ospreay and Takahashi for the Junior title.
Well, at least there's that. They get the match of the month, and then they get the letdown match.
Yeah.
And, Hall of Famer Jim Ross calls to action with pro wrestler and MMA fighter Josh Barnett adding analysis. And then they're going to be doing a second hour the next week with Okada against Sonata. And then also they're running a special episode for Honor Rising featuring the Golden Lovers, against Cody and Marty Scurll of the Bullet Club, plus the Young Bucks and Hangman Page taking on Jay White and Chucky T and Yoshihashi. So you're getting special matches from both Honor Rising as well as the main event for what was that? That was New Beginning
in Osaka.
Yeah. So check that out. Pretty cool. They're coming out with even extra episodes and that sort of thing. And then following the presentation of Strong Style Evolved on Friday, March 30th, they're also going to be presenting 2 nights from the 46th anniversary. They'll be playing the Minoru Suzuki versus Togi Makabe match for the IC title and the 3 tag team match for the IWGP Junior Tag Team title. Plus,
and then the following Friday, April 13th, they will be showing Okada and Ospreay from the 46th anniversary and Naito versus Taichi.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a pretty stacked schedule that they've got from this past Friday going into the Friday after next. So if you are not, I don't know if you are able to get Access TV. If you don't have it, check with your local provider and see if you can.
Or
Sling.
Sign up for Sling TV.
Yeah. Or just get New Japan World.
Yeah.
But so I mean, Access TV's upcoming schedule is pretty stacked. Also, talking about Access TV, there was news that broke out this past week. So we've talked about the numbers already, but Access TV's CEO came out, and Andrew Simon, and he talked to Cage Side Seats this week, and he said that the network's broadcast of Wrestle Kingdom 12 in January had a tremendous increase over the airing of last year's Wrestle Kingdom 11, and that specifically the match between Jericho and Omega was the highest rated New Japan offering in Access TV history.
Wow. Big stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, they're a private company. They don't disclose their viewership numbers, he said, but he will say that the match was bigger than anything else they've ever run on their network, basically. So I mean, that again is just another testament to the success of that show, the success of that program, and that's something that's, I don't know. I mean, I guess we should probably at this point talk about the news that broke out this past week about New Japan and the possible card they might be doing this year.
Yeah, so I first heard it on Observer Radio with Meltzer and Alvarez. They were talking about, what was the date? July 7th, that New Japan will possibly be coming back to the United States to run a show in the Cow Palace.
Yeah.
Which is designed to hold up to, I believe, 13 to 14,000 people.
Yeah, about that. It's big.
So, I mean, we've seen they sell out the Walter Pyramid, which hold, 5,000?
In minutes.
In, less than 10 minutes. So, could New Japan possibly sell out the Cow Palace?
I don't know. I know APW ran a couple shows this past year with, I think, Cody Rhodes on top. I think one of them was Cody against Joey Ryan.
Yeah.
That did really well, big numbers, around the 2,000-3,000 mark. And they, with the merch sales and everything like that, those were profitable shows from what I understand. But I mean, if they're running the Cow Palace, that is a legendary, location. I mean, it's essentially for pro wrestling in Southern California. It's seen as their version of Madison Square Garden,
right? Kind
of like how the Omni was in Georgia. So I mean, it's a legendary venue, and it was closed for a while. Now it's open again. So the fact that New Japan might be going there is crazy,
right? And actually, one thing I want to point out: this is actually going to be the third time if they do it, because we mentioned last week they're coming here to Florida for that CEO Fighting Championship game show.
Yeah, so I mean that would be their third official show in North America, unless you want to count I don't think you can count Ring of Honor, but I mean how much they're going to be interwoven with what Super Card of Honor is, and then also the All In show. Their presence here in America is expanding. Now it's not official for sure that they're running the Cow Palace. Let's make that clear. Shout out again to Fernando Quills Jr. He is a writer for SES Scoops and lowkick.com and MMA Fighting. He actually tweeted us this past week, and he was the person that I saw break the news on this, and I shared it on the New Japan Reddit, and he kind of got a kick out of that. But, the news here says basically that they have a preliminary date saved or a preliminary hold on the Cow Palace, but that they are also considering possibly running a different building, maybe either in California or in Las Vegas, which I don't know much about that sort of thing, but one thing that is very interesting is that's the same night as International Fight Week for the UFC, and they're going to be running UFC 226 in Las Vegas, and they're going to be running that match with it's the light heavyweight champion against the heavyweight champion. It's oh my god, how am I forgetting their names?
I don't know, you're the MMA guy.
I know I am. I do this all the time where I just I have a great memory and then I'll just forget people's names. It's the guy that John Jones just beat, and he's the light heavyweight champion, and he had all the heat with the Young Bucks.
Oh, Miocic?
No, Miocic is the heavyweight champion, and he's fighting Dan Cormier. Oh my god. What's wrong with me? Yeah, so Cormier is the light heavyweight champion. He's going up to heavyweight to challenge Miocic, which is probably going to do pretty decent numbers. So that's pretty bold of New Japan to either they're not doing market research or they are pretty confident that they're going to be able to run against the UFC.
I think it's not market research. I think they really don't care.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot of times like they run like their shows on the WWE weekends and they're like, whatever.
Yeah, I guess. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, like this show, if it happens, I mean, this could hypothetically be bigger than the All In show if they run the Cow Palace.
Yeah, and something else that we forgot to mention, the rumored match for this show would be Jericho and Naito.
That's what, yeah, so we've talked about it. Obviously, last week we talked about the tweet with Jericho, and he said that unfortunately he was done with New Japan. And then, this past week, basically, Dave Meltzer said he doesn't know for sure, but he said that he thinks that everyone's getting worked and that July 7th is a date that's open for Y2J, and that they, instead of doing the match at the Walter Pyramid, they're holding it off for a much bigger venue. And I mean, come on, it's Jericho. This is a guy who wants to make history. He wants to make as much money as possible and make as much of an impact as he possibly can. What bigger way to do it than to do a show that would be as big as a WWE show, but no other company's done it in 18 years?
Yeah.
19 years? So almost 2 decades? Crazy.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, once I heard that and I heard the reports that they might be doing Jericho and Naito there, that made more sense to me. And I was like, please, Gato. Please. I prayed to Gato. I'm like, please, Gato.
I want to do that.
Yeah, they're like, Gato, instead of doing it at Walter Pyramid, we're going to do it at
the Cow Palace.
The Cow Palace. He's like,
for real?
Yeah, he's like, for real? And they're like, yeah, we got July 7th. It's open. He's like, okay, I want to do that. So hopefully that is what happens. Very, very, very big news. Very, very big news. So I am excited about that. I don't know, Jeremy, did you hear this past week about Vader?
Yeah, I saw briefly. He was having some heart issues, right? He's having heart surgery.
Yeah. So, he was in a match last year where he collapsed after he took some sort of back body bump. And he was actually 2 years ago, and they diagnosed him with congestive heart failure. Said he only had 2 more years to live, basically. So we hadn't been hearing a lot from him. Every now and again, you'll see him do some crazy stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, he hit a whole program with Ospreay.
Yeah, obviously that happened, but then he's gotten into it a few times with different wrestlers. I know him and DDP had an issue because DDP wanted to help him, and then he wouldn't stop wrestling, essentially, and it was this big hoop, to do. But out of nowhere, this was on the 12th, so March 12th, he put a tweet out, said, going in the hospital in the AM for heart surgery, wish me luck, and my doctor a good night's rest. And we haven't heard anything since then.
Yeah. And, Vader, one of the most popular gaijins wrestler in Japan.
Oh, well, to me, and I mean, some people might disagree, but I think he's the most, notorious and successful monster gaijin in New Japan history. I mean, the only other guy I can think of in modern times, and we're not going back to JPW, but from the All Japan, New Japan era, it's him and Stan Hansen essentially, maybe, and obviously the Funks.
Right.
But when you're talking about monster gaijin, that archetype, it's Stan Hansen in All Japan and Vader in New Japan, and that's about it, pretty much. Like, that's why we called our award this past year the Big Van Vader
Gaijin of the Year award. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's legendary in New Japan, and he's one of my all-time favorite performers. And I don't know, the idea of him not being around is a sad idea.
Yeah.
So I hope we haven't heard anything. I've tried scouring the internet. I haven't found anything like whatsoever. I don't know if you've seen anything about it.
I haven't seen anything. So all I'm going to do is just pray for Vader and hope there's still some more Vader time.
Yeah. I mean, we'll keep you guys on the updated. There literally hasn't been anything that's... The good news is there's been no bad news. There's been no news where it's been like, unfortunately, like, Vader's passed or anything. So I'm going to assume at this point that everything is good.
Yeah.
And our thoughts in...
A lot of times, no news is good news.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So then, going on, we talked the other week about Austin Aries making a surprise appearance at the Ring of Honor 16th anniversary. Mm-hmm. But there have been some other rumblings on Twitter. Now, keep in mind, folks, that these are just rumors and they're not necessarily going to be... anything that's substantiated just yet. But I don't know. Have you heard about the stuff with him in Impact?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of brought up to me that potential rumors of Impact kind of running out of money. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason, a lot of people thought maybe Impact and Ring of Honor were working together at first. But really, it seems like Impact might be running low on money. They don't have money to sign him to the deal he wants.
Yeah, so I was reading an article from Larry Kazanka, who is actually one of the better reviewers on 411 Mania. If you guys haven't caught his stuff, check him out. He's pretty good. I usually like him, and a lot of the things that he predicts, or not even predicts, but reports, tend to
be accurate.
They tend to be accurate, yeah. And he said that the dark rumblings basically right now are that there was a certain amount of money that was earmarked for Impact when the acquisition from Anthem took place, and that money is starting to run out, and they haven't seen the kind of returns that they want. And so because the money is running out, they're not re-signing guys to the same deals that they were. And so right now they've got Aries as their champion.
He's not even signed to it.
And he's not signed to a deal. They've got other top guys that they just recently lost, like
EC3,
Lashley.
Yeah.
And then Alberto Del Rio was reportedly negotiating with WWE again. And apparently it's because the word has gotten out that they don't have the funds to sign guys to high dollar deals right now. And with that being said, the word's getting out, and there are several talents that they haven't been named, but Ring of Honor apparently has their eye on 2 or 3 specific individuals that they're trying to bring in to round out their roster. WWE's got the same thought, because they both think that they can get these guys for cheaper deals because they can do above and beyond what TNA is willing to do right now, or Impact. I say this because it's interesting, because Aries, essentially, if that is the case, he's a smart guy, and he's kind of hedging his bets against not getting re-signed or not getting signed at all by Impact.
Yeah.
And so we may actually, this might not just be a cameo appearance. We might be seeing him back in the
Ring of Honor full time.
Yep. And if that's the case, then I'm assuming that would lead to something with New Japan. And who knows how this plays out as far as the relationship between Don Callis and everything of that nature, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's something there to keep your eyes out, and your ears peeled. If you guys hear anything, let us know. Did you catch the Flip Gordon interview this past week?
I saw the highlights of it. I forgot which site it was, but I saw the highlights, and the one thing that's standing out to me right now is, he has this whole thing on Twitter where he talks about, being a flat earther. And the interviewer asked him about it, and he was pretty much Flip Gordon, the character, is a flat earther, but I forget what his real name is. Is it Travis something?
Yeah, he said, his name is Travis, and he was like, Travis is not a flat earther.
Yeah. So he just likes trolling people on Twitter. It's just part of his gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, that's kind of funny. He did also talk about... basically his debut in New Japan this year,
Yeah.
and also the possibility of him going to
CMLL.
Yeah, and like his aspirations to do more work internationally and in those two different companies. So that's something, if you're a fan of his, you might want to check out. One other thing was Don Callis. Did you see that tweet about the Golden Bookers?
Yeah, you showed it to me earlier today. It said something like the Golden Bookers.
Yeah.
Big announcement coming soon or something like that.
Yeah, so I don't know what that was, but yeah, he posted something essentially saying like the Golden Bookers, and then he posted another thing like right after that saying something along the lines of like big announcement coming soon, and then there was like this chalkboard with a bunch of like math problems on it. So I don't know if that's something that's related. There's been a lot of like people kind of hypothesizing what he's talking about, but I don't know if that's related in any way to Kenny Omega.
Right. I mean, it could be.
I don't know.
We know their relationship's really good there.
The Golden Bookers, I don't know. It's just a very enigmatic statement to make. That might not be news of any sort. We might be looking back a week or two from now and be like, all right, that was a waste of airspace.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's something going on with Kenny and booking that, and some sort of like weird announcement that we don't know about yet. So
Yeah.
we'll see. And then the last thing that I really have to talk about here is the Wrestling Observer Radio Year-End Awards.
Yeah, so Dave finally put out the year-end, or the award issue this past week, and New Japan cleaned up in a lot of awards. So there's the Lou Thesz Ric Flair Wrestler of the Year award. Okada won that award, and he blew it out of the water. If you subscribe to the Observer, you can see how all the votes and the points. But Okada like blew it out of the water at first place. Then Kenny Omega came in second, and Tetsuya Naito came in third. And then also from New Japan, you had Tanahashi at 8 and Ishii at 9.
Yeah, so I mean, this was very interesting because I mean, I just want to say this: we're not working from the same poll as he is or anything, but we had our year-end awards this past year, and when I look at not only who the winners of similar categories, but also the order of the runner-ups, it was like literally verbatim what we
For
had.
our year-end awards, yeah.
So I mean, for Wrestler of the Year, we had Okada. Their runner-up was Omega. We had Omega. The runner-up after that was Naito. We had that. And then if you skip Styles, Miyahara, and Rush, and Lesnar, you go straight down
We
to
had Tanahashi, Ishii, yeah.
and Ishii. So it's literally in order the exact same guys from New Japan that we had.
Right. Then he had most outstanding wrestler. Okada won that also, blew away again first place. And then Omega was second. Naito came in fourth. Ishii fifth. Kushida 6, Sabre 7, Ospreay 8, Ibushi 9.
So, I mean, you're looking at like 8 guys on a list of the top 10 wrestlers in the world, and the other 2 guys are AJ Styles and Io Shirai from Stardom, who's a woman, who's like, she's the best Joshi wrestler in the world. So, I mean, this just tells you like how outstanding the wrestling is in New Japan when you've got 10 people named and 8 of them are from the same company.
Right. And then you move to Tag Team of the Year. Young Bucks blew it out first place. War Machine came in third.
That was everybody from New Japan.
No, Sho and Yo came in 10th.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So this list I'm looking at only has 5, but with that being said, the Young Bucks, I don't disagree with them being the tag team of the year. I just didn't think they should have won our awards because I didn't think that their New Japan work outweighed War Machine's New Japan work.
Right.
But
the Observer is covering everything.
The Observer's covering everything, and our fan base probably was too. So I mean, they had the Bucks, we had the Bucks. War Machine was our runner-ups. They were the runner-up for them too from New Japan. So promotion of the year.
Oh, before that, there was best interview.
Well, no one from New Japan.
Nobody.
I guess Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega came in 4th.
That's surprising, actually.
Yeah, Naito came in 7th. So there's 2 New Japan guys there.
I mean, for a company that doesn't even do interviews like that or promos, that's interesting.
Yeah. So then, promotion of the year.
Promotion of the year, by far, with 5,871 votes, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then the runner-up with 1,297 votes is Ring of Honor.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are like the two main companies that we're covering. And I mean, like the Observer Awards, like they blew everything else away. WWE was 3, UFC was 4, and CMLL was 5. Best weekly TV show
was New Japan
on Access.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. And then when you go down the list, you got NXT, then you got CMLL, Friday Night Arena Mexico shows.
Being the Elite
at number 4, and Ring of Honor at 5. So, I mean, those top 5 are like 4 different programs that we like cover because of this alliance. This is just showing you how like hot the New Japan product is, as well as the partnerships that they have going right now and the quality of wrestling around the world internationally.
Right, and then there was the Pro Wrestling Match of the Year coming in first place, blowing it out. Okada versus Omega from the Tokyo Dome. Number 2, you had Okada and Omega from Osaka. Match 3, you had Okada versus Shibata. 4 was Naito versus Omega. 5 was Okada versus Omega from G1. And then you go into match 7, Kushida versus Ospreay from June.
Oh, that's the best of Super Juniors finals.
Yeah, and
that's like 5 stars.
Yeah, that's it.
So everything else is from other companies. But what's interesting about that, we had Okada Omega from Wrestle Kingdom as our match of the year. Okada Omega from Dominion was the runner-up. Okada Shibata was the runner-up was 3rd place, and then Naito Omega was our 4th place. So it's and then it's the same. It's literally the same, which is so crazy. Feud of the year, Omega and Okada.
Yeah.
Which was also our feud of the year. They had Tanahashi Naito in 3rd place and Kushida and Takahashi in 4th place, which was that's the same order that we had, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy. Like, it's kind of like, it's spooky a little bit, because I'm sure we're not working from thousands of votes like they were, but just like the sample pool that we had.
Yeah.
The fact that it ended up the exact same way, like it does tell you something there.
And then one thing I don't think it's on your list was there's a best box office draw with Kenny Omega came in 2nd, Naito came in 3rd, Okada came in 5th.
That's crazy.
So then we talked about feud of the year. Then there was most improved, Juice Robinson coming in 2nd, Cody 4th, Hangman Page 6th, Soberano Jr. 7, Kawato number 9, 10 Beretta.
Who was their most improved?
Braun Strowman.
And then Juice?
I
think Juice was our most improved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Most charismatic, Tetsuya Naito. Best technical wrestler. We didn't do that, but it was Zack Sabre Jr. and then Kushida. Marty Scurll was number 4. Hideki Suzuki, number 3, which is nice. Best Brawler Award, which they call the Bruiser Brody Memorial Award. Tomohiro Ishii won that.
Yeah.
With Shibata being
Suzuki at 3rd.
Yep. We do the Strong Style Award, the Carl Gotch Strong Style Award, which is a very similar idea. And we had Shibata win that, but it was literally by a couple votes over Tomohiro Ishii. So, I mean, very, very, very close there. And I actually voted Ishii myself, so I feel like this validates me a little bit.
Then you had best flying wrestler. Will Ospreay blew it out of the water, coming in 1st place. Ricochet coming in 2nd place. Voldor Jr. with 3rd. Takahashi 4th.
And Phoenix
5th. And then also on the list, you had Soberano Jr. at 6. Dragon Lee at 7. Ibushi at 8. Darby Allin 9. And then Kushida at 10.
So we do the Junior of the Year. Who was our Junior of the Year? Wasn't it Takahashi?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, you know what? As you continue with most of these awards, you start getting into the, like, negatives.
Yeah.
Like, the worst, yada, yada. And none of it's New Japan. like none of it. Except for, like, Don Callis and Kevin Kelly were both in the top 5 for TV announcers, which was cool.
There's most underrated. Ishii came in 2nd.
Oh, that's right. Right behind Rusev.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rookie of the Year was Kitamura.
Yeah, and I think Oka was on there too.
Yeah, Oka came in 4th. Umino came in 6th. Leo Tonga 7.
For the top 5 wrestling shows of the year, Wrestle Kingdom 11 was number 1. Dominion was number 2. G1 Finals was number 5. So I mean, like, they cleaned up, dude. Like, the best wrestling moves: One Winged Angel, Rainmaker, Destino, V Trigger, like. this company is just clean. They cleaned up everything this year.
Best major wrestling show, Wrestle Kingdom came in first, followed by Dominion.
I just said that.
Oh, you did? My bad.
How about Promoter of the Year and Booker of the Year?
Ghetto, for real.
Ghetto, by far, with 1,025 votes. And then the runner-up, Triple H, with 48 votes. Holy crap. Promoter of the Year, Takaki Kadani, he blew Dana White was number 2, and he blew Dana White and Triple H out of the water. LIJ had the best gimmick.
And then Hiromu, Daryl, and Carol was number 2.
For what?
Best gimmick.
Really?
Yeah, Hiromu, Daryl, and Carol Takahashi, number 2. Marty Scurll came in 4th. The Elite, 5th. Yeah.
So, they just they killed the Observer Awards this year. So, we always wait for the Observer Awards to come out. There are other publications that do awards and things like that. But, this is
even Best Wrestling Book at number 7, the New Japan Year in Review by Voices of Wrestling.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do great work over there, every year. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, Best Pro Wrestling Documentary, number 2, the Bruiser Brody documentary.
Yeah, I've heard really, really good things. What, High Spots did that?
I think so.
Yeah, I need to check that out. I saw the 30 for 30 with Ric Flair, but
just overall the Japanese influence, and you just see, man, these guys, they cleaned up the Observer Awards.
I'm also seeing here on the New Japan Reddit, this is just breaking. We mentioned him on the show already. Chris Charlton at Reason JP, who's a 2-time author of Japanese wrestling history books, will be joining Reddit New Japan for an AMA right after Strong Style Evolved on March 25th/26th. So if you are part of that community, the New Japan Reddit, and you want to join in and talk to Chris and ask him questions, they're promoting that on there right now. It's on the message board, so that's pretty cool. Last thing before we go, I have not yet been able to find all the dates, but I do know that right now Liger is working that U.S. tour that we mentioned.
Oh yeah.
And so he's done a couple different shows. I saw that there was a match that he did in Vegas with he was teaming with Rocky Romero. And he did a training seminar. So we're gonna have some more coverage. I'm looking it up on Cage Match day by day as it goes by. But Liger's got a U.S. tour. We're gonna see if there's anything that makes tape that's worth checking out, that sort of thing. Did you have anything else?
No, man. I think I'm good.
1 hour and 40, man.
Well, actually, it's a little bit more because I remember our little take.
Disregard what I said.
Yeah.
Still, good show. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. We got 3 big shows coming up. Like I said, we've got the New Japan Cup Finals. We got Strong Style Evolved. We got freaking
Sakura Genesis. And then WrestleMania weekend, baby. Yeah.
And we're gonna be covering all the New Japan shows, even though they're not quote unquote New Japan shows.
Yeah.
The ones that they're gonna be working, like Rev Pro, the WrestleCon Super Show, and
Supercard
of Honor, which those are the 3 shows that are going to have all the New Japan talent during that weekend. We'll be covering those shows, and we'll also be giving you guys heads up if there's anything else that's worth mentioning. But this is exciting, man. And then and then we got a stacked couple months right after that coming out too. So
busy, man.
Busy.
So, like you said, next week we'll be back with the review of the New Japan Cup Finals, review of Strong Style Evolved. So, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Keeping It Strong Style here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Make sure you connect with us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at Jeremy L. Donovan. Follow the show at KI Strong Style. Follow our parent brand at Social Suplex. On Facebook, facebook.com/Social Suplex. You can also join our Facebook group, The Wrestling Squared Circle, facebook.com/groups/Wrestling Squared Circle. Find us on Reddit. I am the Pro Black Guy. Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. Make sure you check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. You can check out One Nation Radio, One Nation Live, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boy. They cover all things WWE. Sometimes they venture out into New Japan. Then the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, from Scotland. Those guys are also covering WWE. The SMC podcast is kind of on a hiatus right now. We'll keep you updated on when those guys are coming back. But Caleb Baldwin from SMC has just started writing weekly Impact reviews for Social Suplex. So if you are an Impact fan, check out Caleb's work.
I'm sure Caleb's work is going to be stellar, like everything that he does. But I did joke with him, and I was like, what are you going to call that? Because he's like, I'm doing the weekly Impact review. And I was like, what are you going to call it when they change the name of the company two more times this next year? He's like, as long as the show is called Impact, it's going to be called Impact, pal.
Oh, man. Love Caleb. So yeah, guys, don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating for us on your favorite podcasting app. Those ratings and reviews help us out in the algorithm and gets our show seen to more people. So help spread the word and help us get over. So until next time, goodbye and good night. Bang.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.